Hello, everyone. It's Eric and Dr. Keisha of the Marriage Can Win show. And we're super excited about this second season. Remember, we are going in on the Business Blueprint edition. We are so excited because you guys have been reaching out and we've been talking about a lot about relationship strategies. But you also have been reaching out saying, hey, what about couples that are in business together, and how it impacts the relationship? So you asked, we answered. And tonight we're super excited. We have a phenomenal guest joining us this evening, and I am getting ready to bring him to the stage. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Let me tell you, Andrew Kap is a phenomenal individual. After struggling for years and losing both his company and his longtime girlfriend all in the same week, he's an author, but he knew something had to change. And unless he found a way to bounce back, he'd never enjoy the life he had worked so hard for. It was in that moment that he finally decided to give the law of attraction an honest try. Now, within 3 months, he was in a healthier relationship than he had ever been. Within 4 months, he was making more money than he had ever made before. Within great. 6 months, he was in the best shape of his life. And within a year, literally everything that was wrong had finally gone right. Now he's showing others how to use those same principles to achieve success, even if they don't actually believe in the law of attraction. And he's helping them use gratitude and other key ideas in fun, dynamic, and unique ways. So all of our listeners, we want to welcome to this show none other than Andrew Kap. Andrew, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, Eric and Dr. Keisha, thank you so much for having me. I am excellent, and I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited for where this conversation might take us.
Oh, well, we're super excited about having you here. So do me a favor. We read a lot about you. Why don't you just take a moment and share with our listeners a little bit more about you? We've been talking about the law of attraction. So let's just share with them how that law of attraction actually impacted your life. Because I read a little bit and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is powerful. So can you share with them a little bit more?
For sure. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years now, and I learned about the law of attraction back in 2004, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one of those things where as an entrepreneur, and I think a lot of people in business can relate to having to kill your own dinner, so to speak, you'll fall or gravitate towards, positive thinking, personal development, whatever is going to help you kind of get where you need to go as a salesperson, as an entrepreneur, or whatever it might be. And for me, it was a thing where basically I, learned about law of attraction along with a bunch of other things, and it was kind of inconsistent. But what I would later find out years later was it wasn't that the law of attraction was inconsistent. It was I was inconsistent. I wasn't actually using it the way I should. And, you cut to 4 years later, 2008, which was part of the introduction you were talking about. That was something where basically, like you'd said, I lost my girlfriend and my business all in 1 week, really within 3 days. And I was just so down, so depressed. And obviously I had to work my way out of it. And I kind of got stubborn and indignant. And I said to myself, like, listen, I've got to do something different here. This law of attraction thing kind of works whenever I actually do it and I don't quit. Why don't I go all in with it? And when I mean all in, I don't mean like all day, every day, because I understood the human condition. I knew I would burn out, but I could do every single day for 5 or 10 minutes, simple gratitude exercises, visualization exercises, whatever it might be. And then that's when what you were describing happened where, even part I didn't even mention to you, like 2 weeks later, I feel better, which is a lot, saying a lot with a broken heart, to say nothing of that relationship in 3 months and all that money in 4 months and just so many things running on all cylinders in 6 months. And I basically had this epiphany like, oh, okay, this works if you work it in life, in business, in everything. So ever since then, it was, it took a few years where I never even thought of writing a book about it. And it was only 2 years ago where I said, like, listen, I want to do something new in my business. Let me choose something where when people write to me or people contact me, I'm not bored, I'm engaged, I'm really into it. And since this is such a huge part of my life and I like to hope I can articulate it in a way that people can connect with, I've just been all in with that also for the past 2 years. And the book came out November 2019. I've just been riding the wave ever since.
Wow. Now that is powerful. When you start looking at relationships and you start looking at a business and how one can have such a tremendous impact on the other. Just to listen to your story and how applying these principles impacted you. But you said something that was so key. You were talking about the fact that it wasn't that, it was inconsistent. You were being inconsistent. And can you take a moment and just speak to the audience a little bit more about the importance of consistency if you want to experience transformation in your business, transformation in your relationship?
Well, I'm gonna tell you before you do that. I mean, just listening to that, anybody just from the outside looking in, you say, "Wow, you lost all of that. That's a lot of loss. How can you be consistent when you have so much going on?" And it's not. You're like, "Wow, lost." And those are some major, events in your life. So to be consistent,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, wow. It's so funny. Both of your questions are so good, and they also actually connect in a way that people don't realize. So first, just in terms of consistency, and I think a lot of people, whatever improvement you might be making in your life or trying to make in your life, I think everyone can relate to. I think losing weight's a perfect example of people like trying to get in the gym and, they work out, it's New Year's resolution, they work out for a week and then they quit or something else, right?
Yeah.
What people don't realize is that, at least from the way I see it, we've got 3 months. We've got our conscious mind and we've got our subconscious mind, which people are familiar with. And we've got my definition of the ego that sits right in the middle, which is way stronger than the conscious mind, but nothing is stronger than the subconscious. Now, the thing about this ego is this part of your mind has one job, and that is to keep you alive. Meaning, whatever relationship issue you might be having, whatever money problem, whatever business problem, whatever health problem you're having, all your ego knows right now in this moment is you're alive. Meaning, it probably doesn't want to upset the status quo on something that's going to be unpredictable, that it doesn't know what's going to happen. So someone out there might want to be rich and famous, but for all their ego knows is if they become famous, they're going to get a bunch of stalkers, which is a threat to their survival. Well, for all they know, they're going to get a bunch of money. Then we know about those distant family members coming out of the woodwork trying to take it. That's a threat to survival. We don't want any of that. So your ego, that part of your mind, which loves you, it's misguided attempt to protect you. That's where those fears and uncertainties and doubts come in. That's where you talk yourself out of working out. That's where you stop yourself from doing whatever it is that through consistency is going to get you where you need to go. Now, to Eric's point of like, well, when someone's really down, how can you even ask them to be consistent? And that's a really key thing. And actually, this is why, by the way, I teach law of attraction and I don't teach working out, because working out for a lot of people in the beginning is not fun. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of intensity. It's rough. But what if, at least in the context of this, in the context of improving your life, you can find something that's fun and easy to do where it doesn't really feel like such an effort. It isn't such an uphill battle. What if you can find law of attraction methods or gratitude methods or visualization methods that are so fun that it becomes a choice rather than a chore? It becomes something that you get to do rather than something that you have to do. So for me, I'm all about finding methods like that bypass the ego, access the subconscious mind, and then regardless of whether you believe in law of attraction or not, that subconscious mind, by hook or by crook, will help guide and govern and facilitate certain things within you through your actions, through your inspired action, where you start making better decisions, you start making healthier choices, and you just start like getting on the right path. And I'm hoping that addressed both your questions, but feel free to fire away if I missed anything.
No, that you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you broke it down perfectly. And as I was thinking about it, you said some things that were so key. You said you think of it as a choice versus a chore. So that just makes me think more something like a mindset shift that needs to take place. Because if you want to develop that level of consistency, if you want to go to the next level, if you want to experience that level of transformation that you went through when it came to losing a relationship and the business, you had to have that mindset shift. And I just love that saying it was a choice versus a chore. And that's just really, really resonating with me. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, because one is something that you want to do, and the other one seems like something you don't want to do, but you got to do. So I think the choice is a little bit better and has a little bit more motivation than a chore. Because every time you think of a chore, you're like dishes. I'm thinking of taking the garbage out. I got to do that. Oh gosh. Or if it's a job that you hate, I got to go to work, versus I'm going to hang out with the friends or we going bowling or something. So it's between, it's the opposite polar here, north and south.
Yeah.
But you know what? He said something else that was key. He said something you get to do versus something you have to do.
Right.
Because I've heard people say it a lot that, when you find something that you really enjoy, it's not a job. It's something that you get to do instead of something you have to do. So I think those mindset shift principles right then and there, it's like, I'm excited. I was like, oh, okay, now, just giving me a new level of thinking. And that's what it's all about. When people want to take their relationships and their businesses to the next level, one of the things they got to experience is that mindset shift. So that was really, really important. That's really key.
So can you share some tips and strategies how to get, move from that negative aspect of a chore to a choice?
Oh, absolutely. Well, if I may, I'd love to teach your audience my favorite method from my book that they can try out for themselves for free. I call it the Timelapse Method. And it's a gratitude method. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to write out 15 things that you're grateful for in a list. 5 of them are from your past, 5 of them are from your present, and 5 of them are things that you want in your future. Now, the key is these are all written out in the present tense so that if you read them off to somebody, they wouldn't know whether it's happening or it didn't or whatever it might be. And then you're going to take that list and you're going to jumble it up in a whole different order. So maybe the first thing in your list is a present, and in the future, and then the present, and the past, another past. Like you can't really tell. And the cool thing about this is you're going to read through that list one item at a time and give yourself, just 20 to 60 seconds to just feel gratitude for whatever that thing is. And what's really cool is 2/3 of that list is either happening or has happened already, meaning it's legitimate, it's real, it's in your 3-dimensional reality where you couldn't manufacture the gratitude. It's real, it happened. And because we as humans psychologically don't downshift very easily, when you're reading those 5 other future things that are dispersed throughout it, that gratitude, that certainty, that confidence, that enthusiasm is going to carry over to you reading those things as well. So not only are you going to be programming your subconscious mind in a fun, easy way, but you're just going to be enjoying this experience. And in a worst case scenario, if the law of attraction is not real, if I'm deluded and I don't even know what's going to happen here, if there's no result waiting for you on the other end, at the very least, you've given yourself 5 to 10 minutes where you just feel good. And we all know we can use a stress relief. We can use a departure from whatever stresses we're dealing with. Just giving ourselves permission to feel gratitude, which studies have shown will improve your sleep, will increase your confidence, will increase your self-esteem. It'll lower anxiety. That's all these wonderful things, regardless of whether another dramatic or magical result might come afterwards.
Wow. Now that's really, really powerful. Can you take one moment, and I'm taking my notes, but I want to make sure that the listeners out there are taking those notes as well. You talked about the impact of gratitude on us. You talked about it reducing anxiety. You talked about it helping us sleep better at night. Can you go through that list again? Because I want to make sure that the audience is taking it all in, because I know that I am.
Yeah,
absolutely. You mean just the steps for the method, you mean?
The steps for the method and the impact that it has, because I don't think that people realize the degree of impact that gratitude can have on you. So for those that are in relationships and they're suffering with insomnia, hey, here's some strategies right here.
Yes, absolutely. So just a quick recap. You're going to write 15 things down that you're grateful for. 5 from your past, 5 from your present, and 5 things that you want in your future. Phrase them all in the present tense. Jumble out that list. It doesn't matter what it is. And then just go through each item one at a time, reading it out, and give yourself 20 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds if you want, whatever you want, just feeling gratitude for that thing. And like I said, this is a physiological thing, to say nothing of energy, where you're improving your sleep, you're reducing anxiety, you're increasing self-esteem. And by the way, there might be people out there that are in some real pain. They're like, how am I supposed to be grateful in this really negative state? And I can say there's always something to be grateful for, no matter what's going on in your life. For example, Be grateful for your heart that's beating in your chest. That's been beating every single second of every single day since before the day you were born, since you were still in the womb, which is not only pumping blood and nutrients to every other part of your body, which is servicing you, but it's just relentless, tirelessly. Like, how could you not be grateful for your heart? How could you not be grateful for your lungs? How could you not be grateful for air? How could you not be grateful for friends? How could you not be grateful for your ears of listening to this broadcast, of the device that you have that's listening to this broadcast, that you can use for email, that you use for communication? It's endless. There's always a way to feel gratitude. And the more you kind of like work your way into it, the easier it gets, the better you feel, and the better you get at it. So the next time you do it, it's even more dynamic and more visceral for you.
Wow, that is powerful. To all of our listeners, I am confident that you are taking plenty of notes. And for those of you who may have been struggling in some of those areas, these are some tools and strategies that you can begin to apply or to incorporate into your daily routine right away. For those of you like me that like to have a plan for every day, add this to your to-do list. Remove some of that stress off of your life. Take the 20 seconds, and like you said, it could be up to 60 seconds or even 90 seconds, just to be grateful and look at all of those different areas, your past, your present, and your future.
This is on time because of this pandemic that we're still going through. And it looks like we're, things are positively coming, at least there's some light at the tunnel. Now that seems to be some vaccines out there. Now we can just get them into everybody. But things are looking better. And there's a shift in everything. So we got to add that to one of the 5 things to look forward in the future, Yeah.
Now, you said something else that was so powerful, Andrew. You were talking about ego, and I would like to revisit ego for a moment, because ego can have a tremendous impact on many of us, or it has had a tremendous impact on many of us. So let's revisit that for a moment, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
And when you're thinking in terms of your ego, how is it that your ego can actually keep you from being successful, or from actually succeeding in life? And I know that you talked a little bit about these principles, but let's talk about that impact a little bit.
Yeah, and this goes back to, again, my understanding of this as a scale where the subconscious is stronger than the ego, which is stronger than the conscious. And we oftentimes probably most of the time, attempt to make those changes consciously. Meaning, if your ego is scared of what that change might be, it's so funny because the ego doesn't have the intelligence and the wherewithal to understand that you're probably doing something that's better for your safety, better for your comfort, better for whatever. All it knows is that there's a change. But by that same token, while it can't be shrewd in that way, it is so shrewd. It knows your weaknesses. It knows the tendencies of your conscious mind. So it knows how to sneak in that doubt or that uncertainty or whatever it needs to tell you in order to stop you from making that positive change, or at least making it way more difficult, making it way more of an uphill battle. And again, the thing about it is, like I said, it cares about your survival, which is another way of saying, even though it loves you, it doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't care about your satisfaction. It doesn't care about your fulfillment. It doesn't care the fact that this really is good for you. But the cool thing about this is the light at the other end of the tunnel is when you bypass it, you access your subconscious mind and you get someplace else. Now you're at a new level, a new plateau. And now your ego is going to fight tooth and nail to protect that. So once you're in a good relationship, it'll find ways of keeping you in that also, because now it knows that you're safe in that way. And it wants to keep you on that track because it knows that whatever's going on right now, you're alive.
Wow. No, that's really, really powerful. I know we've talked a lot about the book, and I really want to drive this home to our listeners, because I feel like this is going to have such a tremendous impact on them. I'm going to make sure that I get my copy like as soon as we are finished. But can you share with our listeners where they can get a copy of your book?
Sure. Thanks for asking. Well, it's pretty easy. Just the website, lastlawofattractionbook.com, is going to auto forward to the Amazon listing. So whether you want it as a Kindle or a paperback or an audiobook, whatever it might be, lastlawofattractionbook.com will take you to Amazon, and then you can make an easy choice. And if you don't want to pull out your wallet, anyone seeing the video right now, they can see the streaming below. I have a YouTube channel if you just want free content, youtube.com/Andrew Kap. And you wouldn't know it now because I'm just so intensely focused on answering questions to the best of my ability. But I throw a little humor in there. I just try to kind of mix things up as a way of engaging people a little bit more and making some extra points, and hopefully keeping things entertaining as I teach this content.
Wow. So why don't we share, I know you've got this amazing book. Do you have any other webinars? Do you have events and things of that nature so the listeners can say, hey, okay, I've got the book, but I just really want to stay connected with him. I'm going to visit his website. I'm going to get a copy of the book. Are there any other opportunities as well for our listeners to stay in contact with you?
Yeah, it's so funny. Right now, again, as we're recording this, we're still in this world of navigating the pandemic reality, and so there's no current events planned. I do have a 90-day program where the book teaches you like a law of attraction workout routine, or what I hope is the best one. I have a 90-day program where it's almost like I'm the personal trainer walking them through that routine, walking them through that method, those methods, just to give people a lot of momentum. But by that same token, I'm trying to keep active more just on the YouTube, where if they need to connect or they need to get new content or fresh content, they can always go there. And, we'll see how well I do between now and this starting to get out there more. But right now, my latest video is a gratitude meditation called The Rainforest. You just go to the YouTube channel and you can check it out. And hopefully people will enjoy engaging in that and learning all the other methods and just toying with it. Whether you believe in law of attraction or not, the beauty of this is you don't need to believe in it in order to try this out and get a benefit from it.
Wow, the rainforest. That, just thinking of that topic, I'm like, that seems calming in and of itself. Yes. So I know a lot of times we talk about our defining moments in business. So can you share with our listeners, was your defining moment that week where you lost the business and the girlfriend, or was there something else that caused you to say, you know what, this is what I'm called to do, or this is how I'm going to step out in my business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's interesting that week, which obviously was not fun, and I would not wish on anyone. I think of that more as a life-defining moment. A huge defining moment in my business is the funny thing when I made the decision to write this book, because you're talking about weight loss, you're talking about relationships, you're talking about the law of attraction. These are crowded markets with a lot of books and a lot of programs, and what I didn't want to do was just put another book out there. I wanted to change the game and really create a paradigm shift. And I had to look myself in the mirror and give myself permission and say, you know what? I can articulate this message. I can make this decision. I can provide value. And I would hope that people hearing that will give themselves permission for whatever it is they're kind of like on the fence about doing themselves. Because if they really care about it, it sounds cheesy. It almost sounds pretentious. It sounds cliche. You can actually do it. And the defining moment in my business was when I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to structure my whole company around this now. There's no turning back, and just moving forward. That was my defining moment.
Now that is awesome. Now you said something else that was so key. And you said, I give myself permission. I mean, a lot of times we see business owners out there that are struggling. They are waiting for others to affirm them. They're waiting for someone that has this huge title or name to say, it's okay for you to do this. When you can give yourself permission to go and be great, to do some amazing things, to encourage others, to have a level of impact and influence. And you don't need someone else's permission to do that. So I really, really love the fact that you said, I give myself permission. So listeners out there, write that down in your notes. I give myself permission so you can go forward and be great, because Andrew has done some amazing things, but he gave himself permission to do it. He didn't have to wait on someone to tell him you need to do this. So for me, that is huge. What about you, honey?
It is. Yes. Sometimes you have to, encourage yourself before you can encourage others.
Yes. And he said something else. He said, I can provide value. So it's, sometimes as entrepreneurs, we tend to question ourselves and our ability. Oh, I'm not this person. No, I'm not this person. You remind yourself you're not called to be someone else, but you can provide value. You can bring about a change in someone else's life. And I guarantee you this book is going to be life-changing. So give yourself permission to be great. And remember that you can add value. So this has just been so amazing. This time with you has just flown by, and
has.
I'm literally running out of notes on my pieces of space on my paper to write notes. So,
But before we go,
yeah,
do you have any last tips and strategies you'd like to share with everybody?
You know what I'd like for, first of all, I'd like to say first to thank you so much for having me. This time has flown by. I feel like we can be talking for another 5 hours and it'll go by in a heartbeat. Again, in this spirit of giving value, just to let people know the one method I still do every single day. I take my own medicine. I use what's in the book, but what I do every single day in case people want to try this also is I have a friend across the country where every single day we record a message of what we're grateful for and we send it to the other person. And what's really cool about that is I've installed social pressure to keep me accountable, where we like to let ourselves down, but we hate to let other people down. I will feel like I'm letting my friend down if ever a day goes by where I don't record a quick 90 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever, saying what I'm grateful for, sending it to him and him vice versa. And it's so cool because we've been doing this for 4 years and we've seen each other grow in so many different ways in so many parts of our lives, almost documenting something really cool before it happened. You know, I'm so grateful I have a #1 bestseller. Oh, look, I do. I'm so grateful I've got all these great readers. Oh, I do. I'm so grateful I'm going on awesome shows like this. Oh, look, here it's happening. It actually has been playing out. So I'd recommend maybe finding a friend to have a back and forth. And if you don't have someone that's going to keep that up with you, do it every day for yourself. Just record into your phone a message. You can delete it afterwards. But just doing that for 30 seconds, 90 seconds, or whatever will make a huge impact. It's fun and it's easy.
Wow, that's important, because I was sitting here thinking about, now what about having someone that's going to hold you accountable to making sure that you implement the strategy. So that was powerful that you said that. I really, really appreciate that. So I want to just take a moment and thank you again. I want to make sure in closing that all of our listeners have that opportunity to stay connected with you. Remember to go to the website, lastlawofattractionbook.com. Make sure you get a copy of that, or connect with him on YouTube at youtube.com/Andrew Kap. And he did have a free giveaway for you, the Rainforest. It's a guided gratitude meditation. So I'm super excited about that. Do you have any additional closing words for our listeners? Because this has just been simply amazing.
Honestly, I want to give you both props and acknowledge the intentionality of your questions and acknowledge your audience through that, because your audience is looking to you. And, you know, not to blow smoke, it's clear to me that you both really care, and you're creating such a really awesome space for the container for people to learn and people to go through. So props to the audience for looking at shows like this and anywhere else to improve themselves, and really appreciation to you for how intentional you are and the questions that you've asked and how you put the show out there, all the communication before we ever got here, because you know it's so important that this is a good show for your audience. So acknowledgement to you and them. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us. And that's what that's kind of our motto. We want to educate and empower and encourage people to win, not to lose, in all aspects of their lives. And they need to know about, their emotions, their psyche. They need to know about strategies and keys. And so we know there's so many people out there, such as yourself, that has so much value to bring. And if we can get it out there on the platforms and help somebody, and we can hear the testimonies, then it makes us feel that much better. Like we've actually fulfilled something. We're doing something that means, has purpose.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to support other business owners, just to bring them into a platform like this and to connect them with speakers like you, entrepreneurs like you, that have, you're willing to be transparent, that you've been through some things, but you're also willing to share the tools and strategies that you incorporated to help turn some things around. And I think that's really, really important, because sometimes we gain access to information, but we want to be selfish. We want to hold it all to ourselves. But there are so many business owners out there. We're all created with a solution on the inside of us to someone else's problem. So whenever we connect with people that have tools and strategies that they're willing to share, we want to help get that message out there We deal with couples and relationships, but you know, we know communication, finances, and intimacy. Those are three huge things that impact relationships, and that can impact your business, because you know, when you're not, things aren't right at home, you know, that can impact you in other ways. So we just want to say thank you to you, Andrew, for joining us this evening. And thank you so much to our listeners. And we're going to have you back, because we have a lot of things planned going forward, and we would love to have you be a part of it, Andrew. This has been such a blessing.
Thank you. Anytime you want me back, it would be my pleasure and my honor. I had such a good time. You both are awesome. I really enjoyed this interview.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So to all of our listeners, just remember that you can be the change that you want to see in your relationship. And until next time.